Hi,
Hello,
Krissi.
Wendy. How are you?
Hi, Krissi. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. So here we are, episode 2 of the Thinking Spot Coaching and Your Colourful Self podcast. And today we're going to talk about mindfulness. So in episode 1, we talked about gratitude, and gratitude is actually one of the attitudes that underpin mindfulness. And today we thought it'd be really helpful to talk about all 9 different attitudes that underpin mindfulness. So, Wendy, what are they?
So, yeah, so perhaps maybe I'll rewind just a tiny bit, just to kind of give the basis for mindfulness. So it was introduced into the West by somebody called Jon Kabat-Zinn. So it's kind of, it sort of comes from Buddhism, and he brought it to the West, and he talks about the 7 attitudes. So initially there's 7 attitudes, and then he added 2 additional ones. And I have got some notes here just because I don't want to forget any of them. However, the first one is non-judging. So with that one is very much about any situation or anything in relation to kind of yourself, or kind of going about it with no judgment. So things are neither good nor bad, just things are. And I guess it also extends to kind of who we are as people, who, about ourselves, that, where we're at is good enough. There's something about another one is non-striving. There's no need to strive. Now, one of the things though is that we do strive, and it's natural to strive, to want things, to kind of achieve things, but the other side to this is about being mindful that that is what we are doing, that is what's important for us.
And I
Then,
guess with those 2 things, sorry to
no,
interrupt, but
that's absolutely fine.
I think in society nowadays, that's even more important, isn't it? Because if you think about that judging element or non-judging on
Yeah.
social media and things like that, people are constantly judging. And because they see these luxurious lifestyles that people are living, they're constantly wanting to strive because those are the
Yeah.
material things that they want.
Yeah. And I think the other importance about the non-judging is that when we judge, it can lead to like automatic reactions. So we judge a situation and that's it, our minds are made up. However, it's not always the way we perceive it to be, or the way we judge it to be. So it's really important to have the skill to be able to take a step back, to ease off that judgment.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. There is patience as well, which is another one of the attitudes of mindfulness. And that's basically kind of allowing moments to unfold rather than rushing them. And another one is trust. So trusting that, things will work out or unfold without without, I guess it's that kind of, without the need for control of the outcome, I guess. And it's a really difficult, it's tricky, really tricky to do that in a
Yeah.
lot of situations, because we want certainty, as
Yes.
humans, we want that certainty. We want to know, where we're at. So we've got non-judging, we've got patience,
Which is
trust.
hard in the 21st
Yes.
century. Everybody wants things now, if not
Yeah.
by yesterday.
Yeah.
So again, it's just another thing that I guess as human beings, as we've evolved and with technology improving, we're
Yeah.
less patient than we ever have been before.
Yeah. Because I guess it's that kind of, it maybe taps into delayed, I guess, kind of gratification, right?
Yeah.
You can get anything, it's at our fingertips, literally. If you want anything, it can just kind
Yeah.
of happen. So,
A couple of clicks online.
well, exactly, so the ability, that patience, and he actually, Jon Kabat-Zinn, he refers to it as a form of wisdom. And and basically that, he just highlights that sometimes things do take time to unfold, you know, that things don't just happen overnight, and then that's okay. One of my favorite attitudes is the beginner's mind one.
Mm.
And that one is very much about, I can only liken it to a child who's kind of experiencing things for the first time, you know, like ice cream for the first time, and it's amazing, and it's really kind of, but it's really about kind of being in the moment with situations. So if you're going to the park or you're going for a walk, it's very much about, or, you know, really noticing like the flower or the tree or the clouds or the sun or the pavement, or, you know, pretending like you've not been in the situation before, and really taking in everything, every aspect of it, which sometimes we're too busy to do because we've got a to-do list,
Yeah.
or we've got a difficulty that we're dealing with, or we've got a situation that we're going to have to sort out when we get back home. So we're doing the walk because we just want to get the steps in and then get back home. But really allowing yourself in those moments to be in beginner's mind can be hugely beneficial to us.
And does it take a long time to do, or is it something that you can practice, you know, for a minute a day, a couple of minutes a day, or is it just something that we should just inbuild into our everyday being?
Yeah, so I guess kind of there's two types of mindfulness. So there's a formal one, so yoga, meditation, and, you know, you can do beginner's mind whilst you do yoga, or you can do beginner's mind while you meditate. But in terms of like informal, it's something that you can kind of do on a regular basis. You could make it, the idea is that people who live mindfully, you know, have less stressful lives. So it'd be the ability to incorporate it in as a lifestyle can be hugely beneficial. However, it's incredibly tricky as well, because we will be used to kind of doing things in a particular way. So, you know, it might feel really difficult to ease off the thinking about what plans you've got, or what things you need to do, or, you know, what you need to hold in mind all of the time. But the flip side to this is the awareness that that is what you're doing is also being mindful.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but the fact that you're holding, you know, thinking about all of these, it's also being mindful. Oh, I'm really conscious that I'm really thinking about tomorrow, or really, you know, that is also because it can become a lifestyle in terms of, you know, day-to-day life.
Yeah. So just for our listeners who might be completely new to mindfulness, it's a term that's been used for quite a few years now, but not everybody completely understands it. So would you say mindfulness is like being in the moment? And in terms of research, has there been a lot of research around it? Is there scientific proof, I guess, that mindfulness works?
Completely, you know, this is heavily researched, you know, there's lots of benefits, you know, stress reduction, you know, people happier, better sleep, even sort of pain management studies, you know, people are better able to kind of manage their chronic pain, for example. So it is heavily researched, and it's shown, you know, great benefits, you know, for people, really.
And it's interesting how you said about the pain management, because when I had my daughter, I looked at hypnobirthing, and I looked at all of the different breathing techniques using that. In the end, after over 30 hours of labor, which could have been an extremely traumatic experience, actually, because I had those mindfulness techniques from the hypnobirthing, it really helped me with that 30-hour labor. It didn't feel like over 30 hours. And it also helped me with the emergency C-section as well, because of the way, I guess, I'd programmed my brain to think about the situation. I never thought that I would need a emergency C-section, but those techniques actually prepared me for it, and I'm just so grateful that I did do that. And I guess that was the first proper time that I started practicing mindfulness. It can really reprogram the way you see certain situations, because if you acknowledge a situation and you see it, and you notice that it's there, then you do something about it. Whereas if you just ignore it in the background, well, actually, you can't do anything about it. And if it's a negative thing, it could just potentially spiral into more negativity.
Yes. Do you know what particularly supported you? Do you know what some of the techniques were that supported you?
Gosh, it's weird, isn't it? After you've given birth, you kind of forget a lot of the stuff.
Okay.
But for me, it was the breathing techniques
Okay.
that I used in that.
Yeah.
And counting up and counting down and imagining a balloon and that sort of thing. That
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
really helped.
Yeah, and I think you point out something really important here, you know, about, so within mindfulness, your anchor is your breath. And
Yeah,
there's something that, you know, it's something that's with us in the moment, each time, so all the time, basically. So really anchoring ourselves to the breath can really sort of allow, you know, it has an impact on, you know, how we breathe, has an impact on our central nervous system. So I'm really not surprised to hear that, you know, that's something that's really kind of, you know, allowed that sort of calming of the central nervous system.
yeah, absolutely. I was calm throughout the whole entire thing. And in terms of
Yeah.
pain relief, I didn't really use anything. Like obviously when I had the emergency C-section, I then had to have an anesthetic in my spine. But
Yeah.
other than that, that was it. I didn't
Yeah.
use anything else. And that was literally just my mind
Yeah.
and me overcoming the pain, I guess, through the breathing, which is incredible when you think about it. Because I speak to some
Yeah.
people, you know, they have epidurals, they have something in their leg, they have, you know, other painkillers, they've got loads of gas and air and stuff. And yeah, it's just a really horrible experience that some
Yeah.
people go through. But just that practice, I guess I was reading about it, I was practicing the different breathing techniques every single day for quite a while
Yeah.
before the birth, and it just helped me. And surprisingly, I guess for me was that it helped me with the C-section as well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the way that I saw that. So
Yeah.
I mean, is it something that we could try and practice? Would you be able to do like a guided meditation with breathing for us?
Well, what I think might be really good is to perhaps maybe end this session
Okay.
like with I've got a 3-minute sort of
Wow.
breathing
Yeah.
meditation. It's called like the hourglass. It's sort of expand awareness and then narrow it down and then expand it again. And that will hopefully be something that, you know, our listeners can kind of take away from this podcast, you know. Because I think with, just to kind of add to that, just in relation to kind of pain, and the reason why that happens is when you relax. So when we're stressed, stress actually amplifies pain because the pain signals reach the brain faster than they would do in a relaxed state.
Oh,
So
wow.
even though like it's not that the pain isn't there, it's just that stress amplifies the pain response. Really, it kind of travels faster to the brain, which is why we experience pain more when we're in a state of stress.
Gosh, that's really important and
Yeah.
really interesting for everyone, because I wouldn't have realized that.
Yeah. So what I'll do is when we end, just before sort of towards the end, I'll take you through a 3-minute sort of guided breathing meditation, which hopefully you'll enjoy. And it's also one that you can hope, it's not a long one, so you could practice it, you know, away from, you know, a meditative, you know, if you're somewhere and you're really needing to kind of anchor yourself or ground yourself to really sort of notice all the things that are described.
Okay, well, you'll have to wake me up in case I fall asleep.
Yeah, hopefully not.
No, that'd be really, really good if we can do that before the end of this episode today, because that gives everybody who's listening just that takeaway, I guess.
Yes, absolutely, no problem at all.
That they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So so far we've got non-judging,
Yeah.
we've got patience, we've got beginner's mind, we've got trust, non-striving, and then there's just 4 more, which is acceptance. I think we touched upon that actually a little bit already. In terms of it's about accepting where we're at, rather than kind of wanting it to be any different. So I kind of links in with non-striving. So and it also, comes from the premise that once we accept where we're at, we can make a change.
Yeah.
So when we don't accept where we're at, it's really difficult to kind of make a change because we're not accepting whatever it is that's creating the difficulty, for example.
Yeah.
So the ability to so for example, it might be something like, I'm in a bad mood, but I don't want to be in a bad mood. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to not have the bad mood. I'm going to try and do something to get rid of the bad mood. Whereas actually, if we accept that we're in a bad mood, actually, do you know what? I'm having a really bad time here. Like I'm really not in a good mood.
Yeah.
Then that can kind of start the ball rolling in terms of, okay, you know, I'm right. Okay, I'm not in a good mood. Okay, what do I need? You know, you're accepting that you're not, rather than resisting it.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, the analogy that came into my head then, because I have actually got a hole in my ceiling at the moment from the floods and bad weather a couple of weeks ago. It's almost like you've got a hole in your ceiling and you've got a plaster and you're just trying to fix it with a plaster. If you don't acknowledge, actually, I've got a hole in the ceiling and I need some professional help to come and, you know, cut a hole and plaster it properly and everything.
Yes.
So in the end, you're not actually improving anything. You're being busy and you're doing something, but it doesn't sort out the root of the problem.
Yes. That's it, right? I like that analogy, you know. That's it, because if you kind of just, you know, like you say, you know, just put a band-aid on and just kind of, you know, that's it. And whereas actually, okay, you know what, I might need, you know, a plasterer to sort this out, or a plumber to sort this out, or somebody, you know, wherever the leak's coming from. Because once you acknowledge, you can investigate, and, you know, you can kind of really think about and go a little bit deeper, rather than, you know, I'm in a bad mood and I don't want to be, so I'm going to go, I don't know, play video games, or, you know, you distract yourself with all sorts of things, which is fine. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but I guess it's acknowledging that that is what you do in response to that.
Yeah.
You know, that actually I'm not really being accepting of the bad mood, and I really struggle to be with my bad mood. Yeah. And then we've got letting go as well. And that's a lot to do with the ability to kind of notice, but also the ability to be able to let it go.
That's a hard one, I would think, out of all of them, letting go. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that I can think of where you need to let things go. You know, it could be an argument or whatever, you know, and you need to let that go. But I guess it's also, it ties in with bereavement as well. If, you know, a friend or family member or even a pet, you know, passes away, that letting go is important, I guess, for your own healing.
And I guess with, I wonder though, but I wonder whether, like, so for example, in terms of like bereavement, that there is something about noticing the holding on. And when you notice the holding on, you know, what is it about the holding on, and what is it about you that is holding on to that? You know, that's perhaps maybe noticing the not being ready to let go.
Yeah, but I guess that's part of the process of letting go though, isn't it? You know, understanding that holding on, and then I guess in time when you're ready for it, to be then able to let it go.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you love the person or the animal or whatever it is less. It's just that in your own mind, you have reached a point where you've been able to let go.
Yes.
And quite interestingly, doing, you know, the coaching training that I've done, we talked about letting go to let come. So sometimes in life, you need to let certain things go so that you can let other things come to you.
Yes.
So it's interesting that there's that link there.
Because if you're you need to close the door sometimes on things in order for a new one to kind of open. But it's really tricky. It's a really, really tricky one.
That would be hard, I would think. How many?
Because it's familiarity, right? It's familiarity. You know, we like familiarity. We like what we know. You know, it's comfortable. It's not always comfortable. It's familiar.
And people find change hard, don't they? Change is difficult for people.
Scary.
It is scary because, like you say, that familiarity is what we like. We know where we stand. You know, there's no threat there. But when there's change, that unfamiliarity feels like a threat.
Yeah.
In which case, people start, either fighting or, flighting.
Yeah.
A response.
And I think as we were talking there, I just kind of went back to sort of what we talked about earlier, in terms of like judgment. And we talked a little bit about kind of, letting go, how that can be scary and things. And I guess there's us sort of, but kind of being mindful that, everyone's experience is going to be different.
Yeah.
So, and it's just that noticing that actually, do you know what, that feels frightening to me. Actually, that's quite agitating, or that's actually makes me feel sad, so everybody's experience is going to be different. Some of us might have very similar experiences, and, and that's absolutely fine. However, just kind of being mindful that, I guess, kind of that non-judging and, that it's going to be different for everyone. And I think this is also the thing with mindfulness. It is different for everyone.
Yes.
It isn't prescriptive. These are the attitudes that underpin it, but it isn't necessarily prescriptive, as in it's going to be non-striving is going to look different for one person to another, acceptance, letting go, because, I like to think of us all being on different journeys as well, different points in our lives where these things might look very different.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any other ones? Have we gone through?
Yes.
9?
So we've got 2. One we've already talked about in the last episode, which is gratitude.
Yes, I love
and
that one.
just so, and that obviously again, a really powerful one, and has been shown in research to be incredibly powerful, which we've talked about in the previous episode. But basically it is the practice of being grateful and sort of thinking, towards the end of the day or the start of a day or whenever you want to do it, about what you are thankful for and what you are grateful for in your life. And it really starts to kind of program the mind to kind of look out for these things, and to look out for these I guess positive experiences or things that you feel that lead you to feel good, that you are grateful for.
And I've been doing that for, I've been journaling since May, I think it is. I've never done it before. And every single day without fail, I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it doesn't take long at all, but you go to bed with a positive mind. You're happy. You remember those little things, the people who you've helped out during the day, for example, and people who you've made happy because you've been grateful for whatever gesture they've made, or what they've done for you. So an incredibly powerful one, I think. And for our listeners, if you haven't heard episode 1 of our podcast, then please do have a listen, because we go through it in that whole episode. And then finally, I think we've got generosity.
Yes, so another really lovely one. So he added gratitude and generosity on. He felt like those were the other 2 to add on to the 7 he had originally. And the one with generosity is from the premise that it actually feels good to give, I guess kind of without expectation of return, really. So that kind of generosity. And again, the reason for that is, socially, it's it bonds us together. It releases oxytocin when we are being generous with other people, and it's very much about holding others in mind, and others holding us in mind. There's a really nice feeling about that, about being held in mind, and that's kind of his premise. It's also there's also so it reduces stress, a sense of purpose as well, and also I guess kind of that altruistic pleasure, and positive social norms. And it can also give us kind of psychological benefits, as in it does make us feel good when we give, when we are kind to others.
Yeah. So what are those feel good things that happen inside you? So there's oxytocin, I
That's
guess,
it. Yeah.
serotonin,
Dopamine.
so yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So it really taps into these happy chemicals, I call them,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
We like
Uh,
happy chemicals.
yeah. And there's four of them, right? So there's oxytocin,
Yeah.
endorphins,
Yeah.
um, dopamine,
Yes.
and there is one left, which I can't seem to. Oxytocin.
Cortisol, is it? No.
No. Uh,
I've put you on the spot there, and you're like, ah.
I do. I use these on a daily basis, you know.
Oh, that's
Uh,
when you're
so
on the
there's
spot and you're live on air.
serotonin is the other one. Serotonin, which is our mood stabilizer, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
dopamine is our quick reward chemical. You know, we do
Right.
some. That's why
Yeah.
social media can be quite addictive.
Yes.
Then we've got oxytocin, which is our bonding hormone,
Yeah.
and then we've also got our endorphins as well. So
Yeah.
they're our natural painkillers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Right. Okay. I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking it's time for some meditation.
Okay, no problem at all. So this one, so it is called it's called the breathing space, and it's sort of an hourglass, and it's often referred to, it's like a 3-minute one.
Mm.
And what I would suggest is, perhaps if you're doing this for the first time, it might be helpful to close your eyes,
Okay.
or also kind of do it where, you know, you're not driving, or, you know, obviously do it in a safe place. You know, don't do it whilst driving. But if you have listened to it once before, you might be able to kind of recall and just check in with your body and use it as you will.
Okay.
So when we're ready.
I'm ready. I'm going to shut my eyes and
Okay.
yeah, let's see how it goes. If I fall asleep, I don't know, you'll have to shout or something to wake me up to end the
No problem.
podcast.
No.
Okay, then. Right. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes. So notice what you are feeling at this moment, physically and emotionally. What do you notice about your posture and how your posture feels? Do you feel particularly comfortable in any way? And if so, where is this? Be curious about what thoughts you are aware of, going through your mind at this moment. Can you place a little distance between you and your thoughts? Try and observe them, non-judgmentally and in a detached way, rather than being caught up in them. Now narrow your attention to inside yourself and into your own breathing. Bring your attention down to your breathing and the gentle rise and fall of your abdomen. You're not trying to change your breathing in any way. Just simply being aware of it in a friendly, open way. It will, of course, be quite natural for your attention to wander away from your breathing. And if this happens, just notice where your attention has gone and then gently lead it back to your breathing again. Allow your conscious awareness to expand once again. From your abdomen and into your whole body. If you can, notice a feeling of breathing into your whole body. As it happens, your whole body does breathe through your skin. See if you can be aware of a sense of wholeness and completeness in yourself. Fully accepting and non-striving. Okay to be just who you are at this moment. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes and have a stretch.
Wow. I am so relaxed. And you know what? I didn't notice that I had a clock that was ticking behind me. I've got a 1920s wind-up clock. I've just noticed that it's ticking behind me. It's been there all day, but it wasn't until now that I've noticed that.
Yeah, they're incredibly powerful, so it's important, and you can do it lying down, sitting up, or but also like this is one that you can really take with you. You can tune into yourself, even in a busy place. It can be really helpful. I know people who have shared that, that's sometimes what they do, even when. And I think I guess the reason why I thought it might be really helpful to share this one is that, really kind of driving home the point of the breath being your anchor, and really sort of anchoring yourself to your breath. Even so, maybe one last one, sometimes we can feel quite anxious. And one way to really reset the central nervous system is you take a deep breath in, so through your nose, and then you take one other one on that same breath. So you go, and you do that a couple of times, it resets your central nervous system. Okay. So, but hopefully that meditation does the trick as well in terms of creating relaxed.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely feel really, really relaxed after that. And it's so quick. It's just a few minutes of your day. And, I can feel the whole energy in the room almost just calm down. So powerful and effective. And, another takeaway for our listeners today. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Wendy.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
So too. I'm so relaxed now. I wish I could say I'm going to go and have a little sleep or a little snooze. I can't. I've got to go pick my daughter up from nursery. So I'm sure she'll wake me up again, and I'll have to do your meditation tonight before bed.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to do.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And see
thank you.
Episode 3.
Yes, episode 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.